Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Dreamweavers Podcast. How's everybody doing today?
Good, thank
Hey,
you.
yes.
Hello, Deanna. We missed last week
Hello.
because you
Yeah,
were out sick. I'm so glad to know
I
that you're
was.
doing better. And today
Thank
we
you.
get to welcome the beautiful
Yay,
Sharon.
welcome, Sharon.
Hello,
Welcome.
hello. I'm glad you're all feeling better.
Yeah, and
Oh,
staying warm. Hopefully, everybody out there in internet land, wherever you're watching or listening to us, you're staying warm too. It's been kind of a rough couple of days, pretty much across the country and still going on.
But hey, it is winter, so
True.
it
you know,
is winter and winter stuff happens. You're absolutely correct. You are. You're so right. Well, so Sharon, how's West Virginia? From Scotland to West Virginia, darling.
West Virginia is. It actually reminds me of Scotland, with the mountains and everything.
Okay.
And people are just so friendly. They really are.
Good.
Um, they'll bend over backwards, for their neighbors, and it's really nice to see that. And
That
that's
is.
what people are like in Scotland as well. So,
Hmm.
um, the weather, on the other hand, it does get a little humid in the summer, which I don't really like, and it gets extremely cold in the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially this winter, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I'm having fun here. I moved here from New Mexico, uh, to be beside my grandkids. So they're within driving distance now, and as long as I can see them when I want, I'm a happy person.
Mm,
Beautiful.
I can
Beautiful.
understand that. Yeah, I can. And it looks like you're currently in your artist studio. So let's talk a little bit about your art real quick, if you don't mind, please.
Sure. Well, my art is intuitive because I'm an intuitive, and so I don't actually have a list of paintings that I need to do. They come to me, and I use um, that intuitive message to decide what I'm painting. I'm also a Reiki Master Teacher, so one of my paintings was while I was learning Reiki and becoming a Master Teacher, and so it came sort of through me and onto the canvas, and that's what I love.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. That sounds beautiful to use that universal healing energy to create the art, and then the art's infused with that.
Thank you. Yes,
Hmm.
Yeah.
it is. I also do commission work. That's probably where I make the art money.
Hmm.
Yeah. And
So,
you
but
do amazing art. I have seen some of your work, and it is, guys, I am here to tell you, and we will link her website and everything in our show notes. And when we do, check out some of her artwork because I am here to tell you she has some amazing, beautiful things. My first piece that I got to see was the alien sitting with the joint and stuff, and that's the best one ever. I just love that little dude, and I will have one of those soon.
you
I
will.
will, because
Okay.
I want a small one, and yeah, that's coming. But and now you're working on tarot cards. You're making an entire tarot deck yourself. You're drawing and doing all of that.
Yes. So, I think I have maybe seven left to do. So, the artwork is almost done, and then I'm going to download them and digitally color them. Um, but with you, you're not just making cards. You have to make, you'll have a book that goes with that. And with the cards on the opposite page, there'll be a key so that I want I want astrologers to be able to read the cards. So they'll have astrological signs. intuitives are going to read the card, but they're going to, being intuitive is a whole nother talk, but they'll find their own way.
Hmm.
Numerologists, the cards come with numbers that represent certain things, and that will allow numerologists to read the cards. And color specialists also, like McDonald's uses the colors red and yellow because red is a passionate color. It makes us hungry, and yellow makes us happy. So, as we're going into McDonald's, we're happy to spend money on food because we're hungry.
Whoa. Never thought of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh no, all these
Wow.
companies, they all have color psychologists. If you're depressed, you want to have yellow and bright colors around you. If in the bedroom, if you're passionate, you want reds and strong colors, vibrant colors. And I actually used to be an interior decorator, believe it or not. So I would ask the person, what is the purpose of this room? And if they said, I want it to calm me down, and I would ask them, tell me, tell me a vacation that you've been on that you had this feeling. And they would tell me, and that would either take me to yellows and oranges and blues from the beach, to greens and dark colors from the mountains and forests, and whites and blues and clear colors for cold places like Antarctica or you know other
For
places.
an ice room.
Wow.
Yeah, yes.
Because, yeah, that's interesting because I remember one time in my dining room, somebody had suggested that I do one accent wall red in my dining room to encourage conversation.
Hmm.
Yeah, that would be perfect. Yeah,
And they said just the one, not too many, because, too much can be too much. But they said just one would help. And I remember doing that, and
that's
it's
and
really a
some
neat
people,
thing.
huh?
It was really a neat thing when I did that.
Yeah, because it gets people comfortable, it gets them talking, and usually sometimes you could put like a strange piece of art or a photograph that makes people, oh, where were you when that happened?
Hmm.
What kind of clothes are you wearing? Well, I was in Tahiti and I was invited to a Tahiti party. Just things like that. You want to get
It's
people comfortable, you want to get them talking. And I tend to go off target. So just keep
Oh,
me,
no, you're fine. I was also going to say it's really
Always
interesting
me.
because, yeah, Deanna, we don't know nothing about that. Um, I was also going to say it's really interesting because just today, actually, I was doing a session and during the post we were talking about color color therapy, and so on days that you don't wake up feeling it and you're like, I just cannot get through this day, but I got to get to work and I got to do the things. Okay, universe, I need help. So I asked, what is a color for this person that she can wear? I asked the entity that was, or the being that was speaking through her. I said, what is a color for her to wear on days like that? And they actually said violet. And I went, go figure. In my head, of course, I said, go figure on that, right? Miss Purple Hair Deanna. Like go figure on that because, us, we know how empowering and what that royal color does for us, right? But,
well,
when you don't know, you don't know.
it's your
And of course, the
crown
crown
chakra.
chakra. Exactly. Exactly, And so, but when you don't know, you don't know. But so that was one of the things that So it's very interesting that we're having this conversation. Anyway, all right. So tarot decks, you do. Let's see, you do art. You do so many things. We're gonna. I don't know. I'm probably gonna miss some,
Just a
but I know you do. So we just talked about the artwork. We were talking about the tarot. So by you making your own tarot deck, I know you also do tarot card readings and regular psychic readings, or what do you call your readings
um
other than
intuitive,
intuitive?
intuitive. I get weighed down by psychic, and because it's not really me. Um, because I get the information from the power of the universe, from God, the creator, or whoever anybody wants to um
Call.
call their guide. You know,
Mhm.
I have my guides, I have my angels, and I have my ancestors. And, I believe that they're still around. They're all here keeping an eye on us unless they've already passed over. And we just need to listen, and we have to ask for help. I'm a Taurus. I also dabble in astrology. Um, and Tauruses are very stubborn, and we're not usually people that will ask for help. We're usually people that want to help, you know.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, so intuitive guidance, let's call it that. I did a tarot reading, but I called it tarot with um intuitive reading in it also. So as well as reading the cards, I would be getting images and stuff coming through, and I would be able to lengthen what I was telling them, that the
Mm,
cards were bringing up. So, and we all have it.
mhm.
We're all intuitive. And if we just stop, and I think one of the most important things we have to do is relearn to listen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because when somebody is talking, you have to say to yourself, am I already thinking about my answer while they're still talking? Or am I going to just let them talk and then I'll come up with my answer? So,
I'm sorry. I'm going to ask for it. Can you say that one more time and maybe even a little louder for those way in the back that didn't hear you, sweetie? Because let me tell you, listening.
yes. Seriously?
Yeah, say it
Oh,
again. The number one thing we can do.
it's the number one thing we can do is listen. We all want to help, but unless we listen, we don't know what we can do, you
And
know?
that's why we have to say it twice, is because they don't know yet.
We have to listen. And that means shutting this and actually shutting this and leaving these open until the person's finished speaking. And so many people, we're so busy. Our lives are so busy now. And um, everybody wants to get what they want to say out. But then there's the shy and the demure who want to just, they've got so much to say, but they don't want to put themselves out there to get stood on, by these people that just keep talking over them. And we're all we all have important things to say for other people to learn and listen from us. So that's the number one thing we have to do.
I love that.
Hey,
I love
Deanna,
that.
I think we're
Yes.
done. I'm like, what else is there to say?
Well, I mean, I'm listening to what you're saying, and it's just so true because people formulate their answer based on what they think you're about to say versus listening long enough to hear what you're going to say. We all do it. Yes, I know. I do that sometimes. We all do it. But the other part is also learning to listen to yourself and your inner guidance. Because when I'm doing cards, so many times people will be like, "Oh my God, I knew you were going to say that." And it's like, right, you did. I'm just saying it out loud for you.
And
Um,
just your confirmation.
right, right. And the way I do readings is I have the person pull the first card as representation of their higher self, deciding where they want to start the reading. So where is the focus? Um, so
That's a great idea.
yeah, for me that's just the way I developed doing it.
Sure.
But so many people will be like, I knew you were going to say something about that. I was hoping we were going to talk about something else. And I'm like, I'm just the messenger. And take what resonates, as they say. And but listening, and you can tell also if you're doing a reading for someone and they're not listening, they're glazed, or they're so focused on what they want to hear about that the huge message that spirit really wants to tell them just
Yeah.
goes right past them. Yes. And I tell people, I'm like, you can put in your mind what it is that you want an answer to or that you want to discuss, but we really don't have control over that because your higher self is going to start the reading, and then I'm just going to tell you what I'm hearing and seeing. And it may not have anything to do, because let's be real, what is it, 50% or more of the people just want to know if they're ever going to have a love, right? Am I going to fall in love? Am I going to get rich? Am I going to get the job I want? And so I just say, well, why don't we just listen to what Spirit has to say? And it may or may not touch on those issues, but if it doesn't, it may be touching on things that you need to work on to get to where you want to go. But you have to listen.
Hmm.
Hmm. Absolutely.
So, from artistry to
Yeah.
tarot card reading to intuitive to astrologist and Reiki master teacher.
Yes. Reiki
Yeah.
Master Teacher. But all of those things, they come from my intuitive self.
Hmm.
And each of the things that I do builds on that muscle because our intuitiveness comes from a muscle in our head. You know, and if we don't use it, we lose it. But if we use it and build it up and trust ourselves to listen, mother's intuition,
Hmm.
you know, it has been proven that the cells of the uterus that the baby is in, the memory those cells have continue. I think they've proven up to 18 years. So mother's intuition is that cell memory when all of a sudden you go, I need to call. I need to call the crazy daughter I have because I know something's wrong. You know,
Hmm.
Mhm.
you have to listen to that. And what's the worst thing that could happen? You could be wrong.
Right.
And you get to talk to your daughter. But you always have to listen to that. And also, when I do intuitive readings and people ask me questions, you have to train yourself for that split second answer. You know, somebody may ask me, I as Deanna said, am I going to find love? And of course, I want to tell them yes. But if that first answer is no, then that's the answer I have to then give to them. But I have to give it to them in a way that they will not shut
That's
down,
hmm
and in a way that will make them grow and think on a wider basis of, yeah, well, We all don't need another person in our lives because we are only one person, and we have the power to make decisions for ourselves and not rely on other people. But when we need them, if friends and family are there, then that's what makes us stronger.
I
Right.
agree. I call that palatable.
Yes.
Yeah, making it a little bit more palatable for people to understand because sometimes, even sometimes my tone of voice, because I'm not thinking about how I'm saying something, and my voice has a tendency to be very direct because I have a loud voice, and so, so because I
No, no, you don't.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah. Okay. But my tone of voice is very direct naturally, so I have to really pay attention and soften my tone of voice so that way things come off softer. And when I'm not paying attention, sometimes I'm like, oh, let me say that differently because that wasn't too palatable. It was very unintentionally blunt. And that's not always what people want to hear when they're not finding the love that they're looking for.
That's why you have to find something to say,
Yeah.
you know.
I my church, we do mediumship readings. We've talked about that before. And we always ask that we get messages that are uplifting, that have wisdom, that are, and I do something similar, kind of put it out there before I do readings where if there is something that is going to be hard to talk about, please provide some solutions for dealing with it, basically. And, when people, if I'm in an event or something, and people walk by my table and be like, oh, no, tarot cards. And I'm, would you like a reading? It's like, no, you're going to tell me when I'm going to die. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Nobody knows when you're going to die but you, which always blows them away. But, um, I I just say, I ask for uplifting and inspirational messages. But if I'm sitting here pulling cards and something's coming up and it's coming up, and I did one where it was like every card was reversed. And I was like, oh my God, I'm trying to find a silver lining and spirit is just hammering it home. But you try to say, okay, if this is what we're dealing with, then please show me how we can deal with it. And you start looking at it that way so that you can provide some healing even when the message is hard to take. You can provide some healing or at least some proactive steps to get past it because they may come up and they'll be like, will I ever find love? And you're going to know like that, just like you said, but it also all depends on what they choose moving forward to
Exactly.
change the timeline or the filament or whatever you want to call it, because free will and nothing written in stone. We're here for specific reasons, but we know those reasons. We just can't access that. And
Exactly.
yeah, so when we listen to our higher power, our inner self, our intuition, that connects us back with that. It does.
Mhm.
It all this whole thing is going right back to listening, isn't it? That's
Mhm.
really, I mean, I think
All about the
Sharon, you hit the
listening.
nail
I'm
on the head.
hearing the listening today. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going to look up and say message received and thank you. I don't know what I'm listening for, but I've been listening all day today, let me tell you. So, yeah. Yeah. That, and I think you're absolutely right, Sharon. I have found the exact same thing. And Deanna, I'm sure you have too, that the more you work that muscle, the more you do creative stuff and allow I mean, geez, we talk about it. Just washing the dishes can be meditative, and the things that'll come through just by focusing on pedaling the bike or focusing on the suds on the plate, as you're
Mm-hmm.
washing dishes, you can listen that way too. It's
Meditation takes
amazing the thing. I'm sorry, go ahead.
meditation takes so many different ways of meditating, you
Hmm.
know. Uh,
All forms.
it's everything that you can do to bring yourself to a level where you're open and you're listening, and everything, all those little things that are going on in your life are just pushed a little bit over here so that you can bring in good energy for yourself. Um, and and I think meditation helps you in everyday life, not just if we choose to use our intuitiveness for Reiki cards or intuitiveness or regression. It's something that should be done by everybody. And I think that it would make the work, I mean, not to quote a song, I think it would make the world a better place. If we all just stopped at the beginning of the day, said, okay, what am I doing? Is this going to hurt somebody? Is it going to help somebody? What can I do to change it?
Agreed. Agreed. I tell people that you will always find a moment of complete silence in your day if you watch for it. And what you have to do is stop what you're doing and live in it. And there's always like, how if you're out somewhere and it's really crowded and you hear a lot of people talking and then all of a sudden it's quiet and you're the only one talking, that's the moment. And I would stop coworkers and say, "Okay, everybody wait, it's quiet. Just don't say anything and just soak it up." And people thought I was crazy, but I didn't care. But but you can always find that moment and you can create it in meditation. You can find it with mindfulness, which the two things go hand in hand, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, if I'm reminded of the end of the TV show Mad Men. So sorry, spoiler alert, but the show is 20 years ago, so it shouldn't be a spoiler anymore. But the main character went to some kind of outdoor retreat, the meditation, the yoga, the whole 9 yards. And then it ends, and I might have this kind of wrong because I probably romanticized the picture in my head, but he's just looking out over the hills and the trees and all the beautiful stuff. And he kind of comes from this place of chaos that throughout the whole series that leads him to finally finding a sense of inner peace. And I think we're all on that journey, but we have to, yeah, we have to take the initiative to take the first couple steps at least, though.
Yeah. And it's hard sometimes to do those steps because perceive, we all perceive differently, and everybody perceives meditation and quiet moments to be either what they've heard as weird or, really strange. And okay, she's one of those, right?
Woo woo, woo
But
Yes,
woo,
woo.
all that type. Uh-huh.
when people are scared to make that step, that's what happens.
Hmm.
People fear what they don't know. But if they would just open their minds and look, you know,
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And people also don't understand that meditation doesn't have to be sitting in complete silence in a dark room. In fact, I find that more distracting than anything. I meditate the best when I'm doing counted cross stitch because the active part of my brain is so busy in counting all the stitches and following the pattern that the rest of me doesn't have to think, doesn't have to,
yeah,
it's like a total separation. And that's when I feel myself on one hand counting and Xing and doing all this stuff, but on the other part, I'm out in the universe somewhere floating around listening for whatever messages need to come. And so meditation in and of itself doesn't have to be, sitting like this really quiet and
We talk about it
not
all the time.
doing anything. Yeah, I mean,
Mine is walking and driving.
hmm it's really the things that can take
Something
your
about
brain. Yeah.
forward movement for me as long as I'm walking and driving, because I haven't been driving as much lately. Um, and so walking is really has My walking's picked up just because I'm not driving as much these days.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, walking and driving, man.
because you're moving forward.
I'm telling you, there's something about that moving forward for me. It's the
Yeah, you're not.
literal physical motion of me moving forward. I don't know what it is. It just opens up for me. It's something about it.
It's the fact that you're not looking back. You're not living in the
Yeah,
past.
but I
Yep.
don't look back too much anymore anyways. So,
You're living.
That's how you know it's working.
well,
Yeah,
maybe that's it, but I don't know. I don't feel like I've looked back in a while, but it's just always been a thing for me. So yeah, maybe there were parts of my brain that were looking back, Sharon. Maybe you're right, doll, and I just simply didn't realize it, because it was an unconscious thought, blah blah blah. But I
everybody's
believe it.
hurt.
Oh
Everybody's hurt.
yeah.
You can't live in the past. You can't dictate the future. Live in the moment. And that's what you're doing when you're walking. You're living in the moment. You've got the outside, you've got fresh air going through your. That's how we were supposed to live.
Mm,
We're not supposed to be sitting behind a desk. You
mm.
know, we're supposed to be working physically. We're physical beings. And yes, I have to say that sometimes it comes in quite handy. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
we wouldn't have progressed as far as we have in this life if we didn't have the people that sat down and did. Um,
Right.
I'm just wondering if someone has text at the bottom of their screen, how that would come up.
I don't know what you mean. Oh my God,
Like,
how would
what
the
would that
closed
look like as
captioning
she's
pick it
saying that?
up?
The closed cap. Well, you know what? We'll
If
find out.
yeah, if anybody out there tells us,
That's funny. Well,
diddle-a-little-lit.
I'll look at it at the end. Yeah, that's funny. Da-la-la-la.
Oh,
That's
that's
My little
funny.
funny.
my little quirkies.
I'll send you a screenshot later.
So yeah,
But
but
yeah,
you're
that's
right.
so true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so here's the thing. Deanna and I actually wanted to really introduce Sharon to all of you guys out there. This episode is going to be a little bit shorter because it is cold. It is a little bit later for us and all the things. We have our own personal reasons. But here's the really great thing with this episode being a little tiny bit shorter is Sharon. Hold on, wait, where's my drum roll? Is coming back. So, one of the things, our very first episode, this is only number two, Deanna. It's only episode number two, dude.
For
But
what? The
anyway,
year? Okay.
yeah. So our first episode of the year was a live. If you guys missed that, it's in there to rewatch. This one we wanted to introduce the beautiful Sharon. We wanted to give you guys some time to find this video and all that because on the very first, what is that, Deanna? February 2nd, I think we said.
Yes,
Thank
Monday,
you.
February 2nd.
Monday, February 2nd, 6:30 Eastern Time. Miss Sharon is going to be joining us again, and she is going to be live. And she
Yes,
is
and I
going to
will
be, go ahead.
I will happily, if you would like to call in and you would like to know whether you're going to be rich or find your love, I will be doing some live readings.
We're so excited for this, guys. We're not talking too much, but trust me when I tell you, Sharon is also one of those people who it takes a while to truly get to know how amazing and fabulous and wonderful she is. She's not one of those to boast about herself. She sits there and looks all kinds of sweet and innocent, which she is. Well, sweet
It's
anyway.
always the quiet ones,
Um,
the first ones.
I was gonna say, well, sweet anyway. But anyway, no, she really is. She's such a good, amazing human, and we would love for her to give you guys a reading. So February 2nd, 6:30 p.m. Tune in live for us to get an amazing live reading from Sharon. Sharon, what else do you want to share with the folks out there now that it's all cold and whatever, but what do you want to share with them?
Well, first, I'd like to thank you guys for having me on. It's my very first podcast as a
Woo,
guest.
woo.
And it's true. Somebody said if you just close your eyes, it's like the radio.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, so no, I'm looking forward to February 2nd. And if anybody has any questions, especially on Reiki, um, or any questions on tarot readings, any questions you might have, because if you go for a Reiki or tarot reading or an astrology chart or whatever, you're there and you get that information, but there's always things in your head that you want to ask,
Mm-hmm.
so feel free to ask.
How do people get in touch with you, Sharon?
Um, well, you're gonna have my card.
What
You're
is your, do you have an email?
Yes, it's IRNB as in boy, REW at AOL.com. And in case you're wondering what it stands for, it's a very wrong spell iron brew, which is a soda that I love from Scotland.
I'll have to
There
look
you
for
go.
some. I'm going to Scotland in June, so I'll have to look for some.
Are you
That's
really?
right.
Yes.
Oh, I was there
Yes.
this June. No, July to August.
I'm excited. I've never been before, and I probably mention it every other podcast that we do because I'm so excited about going. It's my dream. So
Do you
I'll
have
have to look.
history?
Ancestral history, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, so I got to get on the land where they were, you know. And then just Scotland. Oh my God. The whole
Yeah,
thing.
you are gonna love it. The first thing I do when I go home is go to the beach and bury my feet in the sand to reconnect.
Mm-hmm.
It is the place of my birth. So it's like just rejoining, and
Yeah.
it'll always be where I'm from, even though my life is here now and very happy to be here. And but I still have loads of family over there. And we love each other so much that you know, we always make family get-togethers. Although the last time the family reunion was in Portugal
Oh,
because the Scottish people didn't want to deal with the rain and the bad weather. They wanted to have good weather, which was fine. I'd never been to
yeah.
Portugal. So, and all said and done, the 28 of us, it was like being in Scotland. We saw each other, we passed each other on the street, because we all did our own things.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually managed to get sitting down for dinner like 3 times with everybody, which was quite amazing.
With 28 people?
Yes, it was fun.
That's a feat. Congrats,
And
because
it would
that's
just
a
happen,
lot.
it would just happen. I'm very lucky, I mean, I am um not being unrealistic when I talk about my family. I have a very loving family, but I do know that there are people that haven't had that, and I just wish that they had,
Mm-hmm.
because I want everybody to I just
Know
want
how
everybody to
special and
be happy.
amazing that feels.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
So
a lot of my happiest child memories were part of actually my Scottish relatives that, I mean, the ancestry started in Scotland, generations living here, but the Johnston clan would
okay.
get together in Pennsylvania in a lodge at Mountain Lake, and we would go, not all the time. It was like Labor Day weekend, I think, and it was only a couple hour drive for us, and my parents would take me. And the elders were there. Like Pops Johnston was a fiddler, and there were a ton of other fiddlers there. So there was always like feeling, okay, so I'm dating myself, but this is way back in the 70s, children, back in the old days. Um,
That must
and
have been your passport.
Fiddlers are still a thing today.
yes, but this was like amazing old school, just fiddling. And then, they always did like a one big dinner for everybody in the actual lodge. And then people would bring like campers, and some houses were rented out, and and it was just so cool. As a little girl, my grandmother would walk me around and introduce me to all these people who I didn't really remember after that. A couple of people I knew, like my uncle Lockie and stuff like that. But just to find that connection, and to know that you have a connection with every single one of the people there, right? So however many it is, you have that connection. And I thought of that because you were saying how everybody was kind of doing their own thing most of the time, but you'd run into each other here, you get together a few times because of that connection, and how important that is. And yeah, that made me remember some really good memories by you saying that. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. But as well as that connection, I still I want people to remember that yes, we have our connection to our family, but we are also connected to one another around the world. If you think of like, the dot to dot
Mm-hmm.
drawings, well, just imagine drawing from dot to dot all over the world. We're all connected. And it's that connection that can do so much good.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So
And
I'm going to leave you
Mm-hmm.
with that.
and I think that is a perfect message to close on. Um, so I'll just tell everybody we'll have Sharon's information in the show notes. You can scroll and
Yeah.
find that. Please come on February 2nd. It's going to be fun. And each live that we do, we get better at doing it. So fewer technical problems this next time than the ones we had before. And as always, if you're out there and you have something cool you want to
We
talk
made it.
about, something you want to say, something you want to tell us about, reach out. If you want to be a guest on our podcast and hang out and chit chat with us on Zoom, do it. Reach out to us. We're here for you. And as always, be blessed, be blissed, and know that you're loved. And we'll see you next
Mm.
time.
We'll see you guys next week, and we'll see Sharon. We'll see you again on February 2nd. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Bye.